Joining me on the Gray Area podcast today, very special guest, long time coming with my guy here. You can find him on Twitter at Vach Lombardi, draft analyst, NFL analyst for the volume. My man Vach Lombardi joining me on the Gray Area. What's up, Vach?
Man, KG, appreciate you, man. Love what you're doing. Love the work you're putting in. You work hard. You work hard. So I appreciate being part of this work, man. Thanks for having me.
Right back at you, man. Like I said, long time coming because I tell people when I hear you that, look, if you haven't heard Vach Lombardi before, if you're a Cowboys fan and you have not had the pleasure of watching his coverage or listening to him, you are in for a treat every single time. And before we get into anything NFL or Cowboys related, just your story in general from content creator, still content creator, obviously, to the volume now. Where did you get this drive, this passion, this energy from to be able to do what you're doing now and have the kind of success that you're starting to build for yourself these days?
Well, I play ball. I come from a family that played ball, and I'm big to regular people, but I'm small in terms of like, big time ball, like ball guys or whatever. So like I'm 6'1", 270 or something like that. But hey, we just saw dudes get drafted. I would be a little bitty dude, so I could play football as long as I would want to. But I had the smarts, I had the insight. So I did go into coaching, and like many dudes that play football, we really don't have a real clear idea of what we're doing in life. Booby Miles, I don't know how to do nothing but play football, right? So I just kind of stayed in football, and there's this thing that, and timing is everything, man. Timing is so interesting with my story in particular, because at the time there weren't many people doing film on YouTube, right? We were just kind of talking about sports, but there weren't really guys that'll put film on the screen. It was me, Brett Coleman, and Matt Waldman. We were like the only three that were like really like doing it. And the only reason I know what I'm talking about, and I say this humbly, because once upon a time, football would never do this old college stuff, this old spread stuff that they do in college. But in high school, when I played and when I coached, all we did was spread because that's what college was doing. And right around the time when I started YouTube, and that's when the NFL wanted to be like, all right, we'll do some spread stuff. All right, Chip Kelly did all this little spread stuff. We're doing things that we see in college now. So me, just as a dude on my couch, I'm arguing with people at my day job, which was Pizza Hut. I was arguing with people just in my regular life. I'd be like, hey, this dude is better than this dude because of this, and that's why. And they're like, well, how you know? Well, I never played pro football, but I know what they're doing because I've seen this before. I've played in it and I've coached it. So that's where like a lot of my, knowledge comes from. And, the more you watch something, the more you just kind of like develop your black belt in it. And boy started making money one day, KJ. Make money. You can't stop, man. Can't stop.
So you touched on it a little bit. So you're working a day job at the time. Sounds like you were working at Pizza Hut at the time.
Yes, sir.
What are you telling yourself about what you wanted to do with your future, even in the midst of working a day job, but knowing what kind of vision you have for yourself, knowing what could be on the other side of that?
Man, I mean, you just do it. And, just if enough people tell you, hey, man, you should have your own show talking sports, you kind of got to take that. I just believe in signs, man. I just believe things happen for a reason. I'm part of this master plan. I don't know what it is. Whatever my part of it is, I'll just do it. But if enough people tell you, hey, you need to do this, right? You just kind of do it. And I'm a Pizza Hut employee, man. I can't afford a whole bunch of technology. So I just slowly but surely started putting technology together. I still have my first laptop. I just bought this new microphone, man. So just when I get into new things, I get obsessed about them. I get obsessed about them. So when I decided I wanted to do podcasting, I went 100% at it. And it's a humbling experience. I'll just share this with you. We on your show. It's a humbling experience because as I'm working at Pizza Hut, delivering pizzas in bad neighborhoods for no tips, frustrated, smelling like dirty dishwater. People walk in, I'm trying to look cool at Pizza Hut, you know what I'm saying? But I got my big non-slip Pizza Hut shoes and my uniform on while I'm trying to look cool. I get frustrated with it, right? And I get so, obsessed with the idea that I'm gonna get away from this one day, right? But I'm listening to all the Dallas Cowboys podcasts, right? Because I'm Cowboy fan. I grew up Cowboy fan, right? So I'm a fan of Eagleton and Broadus and Kavanaugh and all these characters, Hellman and all those people. So I'm growing up fans of those people. So what kind of got me driven, really, man, I'm going to argue with Broadus one day. I'm gonna say something to Jeff Kavanaugh and tell him he wrong about this dude. Boy, Dave is so incorrect about this dude, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but one day I'm gonna tell him, right?
Yeah.
And it just turns into, all right, I'm gonna do a podcast. Well, let's do YouTube now, because podcasting is different than YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get views from YouTube. Oh, we getting paid to YouTube. Oh, I'm getting more views from YouTube. Oh, I got 2,000 subs from YouTube. Now I'm going, how many subs does it take to disagree with Jeff Kavanaugh, Brian Brothers, and David?
That's your whole basis the whole time.
That's the basis. I just want to disagree with them. That's all I want to do. Right. And boy, oh boy, I've disagreed with all three of them at some point. So life is good, man.
When did the light bulb kind of hit you? Not necessarily like, oh, like I'm on this path, but you knew that, okay, this is it for me. And I know what to do now going forward with that. When did that kind of hit you along your journey?
Man, it hits me in different spots, because I am a very passionate character, but I'm also somebody that I'm confidently unsure of myself sometimes. Like I'll just be on social media and just John Owning follows me one day, man, what are you doing? Why are you following? Right. And I'll have people tell me, yo, Vach, like you're Vach, like you have to believe that people have seen your work. I'm just some dude from Natchez, Mississippi, KG. Like Natchez, Mississippi, just some little small town on the river. Who's supposed to know me? Right. And I'm just, man, why do these people know me? Like I'm just some YouTube dude, right? So the more and more people know me, the more I start to accept the idea that, okay, well, this is a thing now. This is a real life situation, or it could be a situation where I'm working another day job. This is like the hospital or something. I'm working at the hospital. I get fired from the hospital. Dadgummit. I got to go back to the hood or something, but yeah. YouTube, just some miracle happens. I don't know. Maybe it's just I put more time into YouTube then, but now I can afford to pay rent and do YouTube now. That's a sign that'll keep me going. Or I'm at Oxnard or something. People walk up to me. Oh, Vach, love your work. Appreciate you. Louis Scruggs. You know what I mean? So just when I just get this outpour of people that I'm not supposed to meet, and I'm saying this as a humble, unsure, confident guy, right? Man, what you mean you know my work? Derek Evans, what you mean you love what I do? You're not supposed to love what I do. But I work hard so people can love what I do. You know what I mean? So just the more I need affirmation, man. Affirmation drives me. Like if my product is looking bad and I feel like it's looking bad, I need to add a graphic or something. Then I need somebody to say, hey, yo, Vach, I love that graphic you did.
Yeah.
That's making sense. So I guess the to answer the long way around this question here, as I just came up with the answer here, the more affirmation I get from miscellaneous people that I just didn't even think would even watch my show, right? That makes me believe that, hey, this is a thing. Hey, this is real life. Or Colin Cowherd does a draft show with me. And I go, damn. You know what I mean? So yeah. So all those signs kind of come together for me and let me know that this is a real thing.
It's interesting you say that, because I feel like, and for a lot of us who are content creators who are trying to make a path in this industry, imposter syndrome kind of sets in a little bit, because you hear enough people tell you, okay, you're good at this, you should continue to do it. But at the same time, there's a confidence that says, okay, maybe, or a lack of confidence says, I don't know if necessarily I am good at it. But then you hear it over and over and over. You're talking about that affirmation and continue to get that reaffirmed for you. Is that something that as you continue to go forward that you'll continue to look for? Or is it something that based off of what you're doing, that'll change eventually where like, hey, I know what I'm doing. I believe in that. Or will that continue to drive you in that way?
Oh, man. So listen, when I just told that little story, like that's mostly old Vach, for the most part. Right. But now I have a clear idea what I am, but I still say that humbly, confidently, and still kind of skeptical. Like I still say that, but imposter syndrome. Glad you said it, right? A lot of times we get into this thing and we just want to sound like other people. How the climate is now, you're better when you don't sound like other people.
That's true.
When you're your own person now. And, we all pretty much say the same things, right? If 10 of us line up and say Micah Parsons runs fast, of course we're going to say Micah Parsons. Like we're all saying the same thing, right? But it's how Vach said it, or it's how an audience can buy into my story or buy into my opinion on it, right? It's not about who knows the most, because I wouldn't listen to us. Like, some scouts may not have the personality that can pull off a podcast. They got all the football knowledge in the world, right? But can I buy into that character, right? I don't want to say it's kind of like wrestling, but it's almost like wrestling, right? Since I'm talking to you, it's almost like wrestling, right? Like
everything's professional wrestling. Yeah, that's right.
I've bought into your journey. And I've seen this suplex 1,000 times, man. It's 2023, KG. None of these finishing moves are new.
Mm-hmm.
It's your journey that makes that finishing move new, So I got this finishing move that's unlike everybody else's finishing move. I just happen to have that, right? I just happen to have this unique finishing move. But even if 9 other people had my finishing move, it's mine. Like, my journey makes mine different, right? So you can come out and try to be personality guy with sports. You can be edgy guy with sports. You can be jokey, funny guy with sports. But at the end of the day, I did mine different. And I'm building my audience on how I do mine different. And with this space, 2 entertaining sports dudes can exist. 3 entertaining sports dudes can exist. 13 of us can. And we're all going to say Michael Parsons is fast, right? But it's what I bring to the table that makes me feel like, man, somebody's going to see this thing, boy, and somebody's going to buy into it, and somebody's going to make it to where I can buy a mansion and a boat one day. I just gotta keep believing in my special move and how I do it. And I can't fake it now. I can't turn on that. I've built such this credit is what I call it, right? I've built so much credit on social media, Twitter, YouTube or whatever, that if I did get on some network with a suit and, well, today Vash Lombardi going to tell you why Michael Parsons runs, they're going to look at me like, I don't want to hear Vash talk like this. And they're going to leave because they don't want to hear Vash talk like this. They want to hear me say, man, Mike going to run faster than all y'all kids. Boy, he going to take your lunch money. Boy, look at how this kid, boy, look at this boy here. Look at how, they want to hear me talk like that because I've built that character. So, and I just believe in my character. So that's why I think this thing is going to keep, building more affirmation.
Yeah, the presentation these days is a lot of what goes into this, because you're right. All of us can say the same thing, but how we present it and the character that is behind it, I think, draws people to that. And more importantly, and that's what I love about you, is there's a real authenticity that comes with what you're saying. And I don't think that's fake. I don't think it's phony or made up. It feels like when I listen to you, or when we listen to you, break down film and talk about, the Cowboys, NFL, whatever, like, that's really how you feel. And that's coming from a real place. And I think that's hard for a lot of people to have that genuinely come across, given how we have built these quote unquote characters based on what we see on television and how that may be a lane for people to be successful in. It's hard to build that authenticity, I feel like.
Yeah. And I say character, but I'm not playing a character. Like, I'm just me. I'm just doing me, But I just think that comes from the internet, That's just, we have this lane. Like think about back in the day when there was like 5 channels on TV. You was outside when that was going on. There's only 5 channels, and we just got 2 sportscasters, right? Okay, you giving my information, but I may not relate to you. I think relatability has a lot to do with this also, So if, like I said, as long as the information makes sense to somebody, right? Like, we're all saying Michael Parsons is fast, but he's fast. But the minute my information is bad, all this entertainment means nothing, right? So I still have to give information, and I still have to resonate with somebody. I don't always have to be right. I could be wrong, right? But I think the integrity of it matters the most. Like, I believe this. This is what I believe, and this is my homework to make me feel like I. So, for example, right, when Micah got drafted, right, some of us were right, many of us were wrong about,
and
Micah
many of us
Parsons.
didn't know either about some of the stuff.
but my big argument, and I keep using Micah, but it's Cowboy land, whatever. But my biggest point on why I didn't think Micah was a Von Miller type guy. Well, he's a blitzing linebacker, and he got 6 sacks. Show me the Von Miller tape, and that was my reference for it. So when people watching me, they go, yeah, Vash, we didn't see him as an edge guy doing what he does now. But then when you see him do it, I get the people that once agree with me, but boy, I get the new audience that comes in now. But boy, Vash, you was righteous when you said it, but boy, how wrong you were. Boy, we was on your team when you was talking. And Vash, you made an entertainment case. You made an entertaining case. You almost had me, Vash, but boy, apart. So now, even though I was wrong, even though people disagree with me, they rock with me too, because I was righteous, and my information from my perspective was correct. People hate to be clickbaited, and I'm not a clickbaity guy, So if I say something, I believe it, right or wrong.
I feel like so when I watch you, individuals like Law Nation, Skywalker Steel, plenty of guys that and gals who do this, it feels like for you in some ways, and you can appreciate the reference. I feel like you're kind of the underground king of this whole Cowboys YouTube, movement, if you will, because there wasn't a particular space, and how much now it is saturated with Cowboys content creators and everyone who is obviously wanted to talk about this team. Do you feel some of that as you continue to grow, that based on where you started to where you are now, that kind of this underground king vibe when it comes to Cowboys YouTube content creation, podcasting, and that kind of thing?
I no matter how air quote big for those just listening on the audio, right? How big this, my name has gotten, right? I still feel like a dude selling mixtapes out the trunk.
Yeah.
Because you're not really gonna see my work unless you search me out or I stumble upon you. I'm like, nobody's force feeding you my information. Like if you cut on TV, you just happen to see somebody on TV. Oh, well, I got your take because I happen to be watching TV, right? You're only going to find my content if you're looking for cowboy content. Or if you're looking for a film session, if you're looking for a draft breakdown, right? So if you at the gas station, hey, I got this mixtape in the trunk, you want to give it a try, right? And they'll give it a try, and whether they like it or not, that's whatever. But I've gotten a lot of people's attention just based on that. So yeah, I do feel like like the growing rapper that's still close to the people, that I still kind of I have this rebel thing about me still, right? Just when and this isn't some purposely going against the grain thing, but I just mentioned the letter networks on TV, and they do great work too. But if I disagree with them, I'll put my neck on the line and disagree with them. And that's like the little rapper dissing the big rapper, right? Some people gonna look and be like, Vosh, why you dissing Mel Kiper?
What you coming after McShay for, man? Leave that man alone, man.
They're not even gonna see this, Vosh. What you going after them for? But there's gonna be some people that go, yeah, I don't like Osiris Torrance, Vosh. You right.
It's the one or two that like, right, you right, Vosh. You were exactly right.
That's it. You know what I mean? So yeah. That's a great reference. I love it. We are basically underground guys for sure. And guys.
Who did you draw your inspiration from? Like, who was, a guy or a gal that you look to, whether it be in this space or just overall when it comes to, sports broadcasts, that kind of thing, that you drew some inspiration from?
So I wasn't even going to be sports guy at first. I wasn't going to be a YouTube guy. I was a big radio dude, I kind of came up where Sirius XM was a thing, so I'm listening to, Foxhole Radio, and I'm listening to the Opie and Anthony show, Patrice O'Neal. I'm listening to those guys and how they do radio, and they don't do radio nice. Like they do radio, like they do radio how I YouTube, I take callers. I figured out this system in my phone to take callers, and if I don't like your take, I'll make fun of the callers because that's what they'll do. I was a little edgy because that's what they'll do. You know what I mean? I wanted to be like those guys. I wanted to have a group of 5 people, and instead of it being like some panel where we take turns or whatever, like if I was to ever do anything on like .com or something like that, I got to deal with the fact that I got to let somebody speak. All right, your turn to speak, and I gotta shut up, okay? Because it's different, right? But if we just on YouTube cutting up, I may talk over you because I want my point to be heard. That's how I heard those dudes do it. It was just we're hanging out, but it's just a microphone in our face, right? But then I just kept working on my craft, and I just ended up being sports guy. But I still did sports like those dudes, and I never had a sports dude to look up to until I found Bomani Jones. And listening to Beau made me realize, 1, I wasn't interesting, and 2, I don't deliver my points thoroughly enough. Right? If you listen to Beau, he makes all his points interesting, and he delivers his points so thoroughly. Like every little piece of anything that you can, like, he covers every base. He doesn't just say, well, I think this because I think this. Man, Beau will give you a 8, 9, 10 minute soliloquy about why this is the case. And it's so thorough, and it's so broken down, and it's so nuanced that you go, man, whether I disagree or not, you put thought into this. So how that helps me now, how that inspires me is I can't just go, okay, well, DeJuan Jones in this draft was my favorite offensive tackle. If somebody asked me, Vosh, how is DeJuan Jones your favorite offensive tackle? Back in the day, I'll go, well, DeJuan is, he's a good player. He, long arms, physical dude. I like him. I will give you an 8-minute explanation on why I think DeJuan Jones is the best offensive tackle in this draft, and I'll reference. I didn't go to college for like journalism, but listening to Beau, I got sources now. I go to my film. I tell you why I felt it. I even Googled what school he went to and figured out. I get into all that now because I realized I didn't deliver my points thoroughly enough. So the other radio guys inspired like how I, talk on like my, get down or whatever. But Beau is all about my delivery, my nuance, and my information, and how I present that to people.
That's incredible that you say that, because that is one of Stuart Scott and Bomani Jones for me have been kind of that inspiration as well, because for me, Beau made sports sound cool, and I had not heard that. Stuart Scott, the latest Stuart Scott, did the same. He made it sound like, oh, this is fun to talk about. I want to talk and have fun talking about sports and delivering information in that way as well. So it's interesting that you brought him up, because I think for a lot of us who are trying to aspire in this space, look at individuals not only who look like us, number one, but number two, deliver it in a way that makes it resonate with us, that we would want to deliver that in our own way, but also in a way that draws people in the way that individuals like that do that as well.
Delivery is so important,
Yeah.
It's so important. And like I said, if I only give you a little bit of rope, then you're only going to just disagree with me because of whatever. But man, it's just something different when you listen to somebody and they'll even acknowledge the other side of the argument, right? That's something else Beau does. Like, he'll make his point and he'll be like, and look, it's fair that this side thinks this. And that makes me go, hey, man, I see why y'all wouldn't like, DeJuan Jones. He 375 pounds. Y'all may think. But then I'll go, but look at the retort to the point I just made for you, right? Like he taught me how to like debate myself almost just to be, you know what I mean? So smart sport. Beau might be the smartest dude ever. You know what I mean? I just think that highly of him, but to put those smarts into delivering a take in sports, it's so different than anything I heard. And I listen to him to this day, every single day, faithfully. So
same.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's my guy.
Tell me what it was like, obviously, as you've gone along this journey. Now you're with the Volume. What was that phone call like with Colin Cowherd, knowing what was about to happen? Or did you know what was about to happen when you got that phone call from him, and how that has continued to grow for you?
Man, I'm still confidently pessimistic in my delivery. Yeah, Vash, we want you to come be a part of this thing, man. I had talked to many people. I talked to Logan, talked to my guy Jack Rose, Brumley. I talked to many people. Shouts out to them. And and they're just, man, Vash, we want to do this, and I'm just like, yeah, I got you, buddy. We'll do it. Oh, Vash, we want to and we want to XYZ, and we want to make you the cowboy guy for the Volume. We want you and Cowherd to disagree about Dak. And I'm just like, I already disagree with Cowherd about Dak. Oh, okay. And I'm just slowly but surely just whatever. And me and the Volume, man, we've gone through our little talks and our negotiations, man. But I'll just share this story with you, man. I had a moment in my Volume career, which is basically my career, right? That did something to my confidence as a content dude, like did good things for my confidence, right? So the Volume, and this is my personal opinion right now, right? I think they're TV people. Right, like they're used to doing TV. I'm content guy. It's not the same thing, right? I do content. They do, like, they may have a plan before they go into what they're doing. I may have saw a tweet that I like. So cool. Let me make a 10-minute video about the tweet that I saw. Right,
that's a big difference. Yeah.
So I'm just doing my thing, right? Just doing my shows, and they're happy with the content. Yo, Vash, man, we love what you do, man. You and Will still shots on my guy Skywalker still. Yeah, Vash, we love what you're doing over there. And man, one day, my guy Brumley hit me up, said, "Yeah, Vash, they want you to do a draft show with Cowherd. They want y'all to do a draft show together. Cowherd's gonna come on and do about 10 picks, and because Cowherd ain't gonna do all the draft, like he ain't gonna go in the 7th round. Like, say, hey, Cowherd gonna come in and do about, well, actually, Cowherd, they say he was gonna do like 5 picks. He was just waiting on Drake London to go off to do USC things, and then it's gonna go right. All right, cool. So I get to do 5 picks with Colin Cowherd, which is a long time, and in round 1, that's like an hour with Cowherd, right? And I could hear the concern in their voice that they didn't know how it was gonna go, They're like, all right, so Vach, so when we get to pick number 6, what's the plan? I ain't got no plan. Like, I've built this whole thing on not having. Well, Vach, if Colin Cowherd asks you this question, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna answer it. I don't know. When he asks it, I'll see. And I felt this uncertainty about what I do, and that's when my competitive ball playing dude, kind of shows back up. Right? I'm like, listen, man, y'all wouldn't have me here if you didn't like what I did. If you didn't have confidence in this thing that I do, you wouldn't even have me here, right? So let's not backstep on me right now. Let's not backpedal here, right? Work on the graphics, guys. Get the graphics that we did the other day. And when Cowherd gets here, we'll talk to Cowherd. Gosh, but what if you run out of things to talk about? We won't. And boy, and I got real big in the chest, man. I'm doing my show, man. Vach Cowherd to be here in 30 seconds. Just tell me when he get here. Just whatever. That's my mindset, right? I'm like, bring Cowherd up in here so I can deliver this show, so I can kill this show. We can do this. Bring Cowherd up in here. I didn't say this, but in my mind, right? Bring Cowherd. 6 overall. I'm trying to be perfect. Bring Cowherd up. And KG, man, Cowherd gets there, man. He only intended to do like four picks or so. Man, we did like 12 picks, man. We were just we were just in there talking, bro. We're just going back and forth. And I can feel that Cowherd's draft energy was running out a little bit. I was like, Cowherd, what you think about Russell Wilson? Oh, well, gosh, that's one thing about, because I knew he could talk about Russell Wilson. I knew he could talk about things that are in the league right now. Well, Matt Ryan is a Colt now. You think the Colts and old quarterback stuff is going to happen? Colin, just tell me about that. And we kicked it for like an hour and 30 minutes, right? And Cowherd's like, hey, Vach, man, I lost track of time. I didn't think that, hey, but he didn't say I didn't think, but hey, Vach, this was great. We love to have you here. Cowherd left, man. And I'm looking at my audience. I'm looking at my chat box, man. Everybody just dropping flames and giving me affirmation.
Yeah.
And they just telling me about the moment, man. Like, yo, Vach, man, you killed it. And just in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, tell them volume boys, Vach got this, man. Tell them boys in the back. I say, hey, Colin, I ain't say this, but in my mind, hey, Colin, on your way out, tell the boys in the back, Vach got this. And I haven't heard any other questions about how we run our show now. You know what I mean? They give me free reign to just kind of boogie, and that's it. So that meant a lot to me, man. That was a huge hurdle for me. Because look, I could have, had a lose yourself moment and failed. I could have threw up my mom's spaghetti right there. You know what I mean? I could have like the one thing I didn't want, and radio guys talk about this all the time, is you don't want just like dry air. You know what I mean? Just dry.
That's right. Air.
And the one thing I just remembered that because I heard Open Anthem talking about it, I just didn't want me and Cowherd to have dry air, right? So when Cowherd ran out of draft information, I could talk draft all day.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go to some NFL stuff. And look, if he'd have ran out of NFL, I'd ask him about basketball. This was gonna work. This Colin Cowherd ex Vach collaborate. This was gonna work.
Yeah.
And that was huge for me, and it was huge for my confidence. And that makes me feel like, if I'm asked to do anything on any platform with any talent with anybody, as long as I'm in my mindset that I'm gonna do it, I'm tackling that, man.
What are your goals and aspirations when it comes to this business and how you want to continue to grow uniquely in this space?
If you'd asked me that years ago, I said, man, I just want a big house. I want to buy my mom something. I just want to, you know what I mean? I probably would have said something like monetarily,
Yeah.
But I take the craft a lot more seriously now, because I just understand what comes with this, like, I think life is good now. Like I'm fine now, but man, I just once I got here, once we did the show with Cowherd, right? Now my mind is open to, man, what else are we capable of here? I started rubbing my hands together like Bird, man. Like what else are we capable of? So in my mind, it stopped being about like monetary gain. Because in real life, if I keep killing it, we're gonna get paid anyway. If I just keep killing it, But I just want to be I want to be respected by my peers. That means so much to me. And I think at the end of the day, if I'm respected by my peers, everything else will just kind of fall into place, Like if I ever get fired from the volume, but I got respect amongst my peers, somebody gonna be like, hey, y'all need to hire this Vach Lombardi dude and bring him on. And it'll just take care of itself, man. I just want to be a guy that, I'm big on legacy also, right? So I just want to be a dude to where when they look at my product, they go, man, they just go, man, this dude Vach, man, this like how I looked at like Brian Broaddus is a mythical creature. You know what I mean? To like content draft dudes, right? So when I'm smelling like dirty dishwater, man, like my idea of ultimate respect in this space is that dude, right? And he gonna retire one day or whatever. But man, I'm just doing my thing one day, man. I just would love for some dude that's working some job, that's uninspired, that's sick of it, to listen to me, acknowledge my story, like we said earlier, follow my story and resonate with my story. And that dude goes, I'm gonna disagree with Vach so bad one day and tell him he's wrong about Osiris. And that makes another dude that people listen to. That's crazy for me. Like I just thought I was at dojo one day, I don't know, punching a bag or something. And I felt like if I could accomplish that though, you know what I mean? Like if I can, and it sounds corny when I say it in this way, like if I inspire others to do what they love to do, sure. But if I can humbly, right, turn into this mythical creature that people look at and they go, man, Vach did this from where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Man, let me just start this little YouTube channel up and figure something out. Let me just put my opinion on what. And look, content will dictate for you. If you're not getting movement, you need to do something different. You need to get better. And if you're dedicated to the craft, you invest in your craft, you invest in yourself, you believe in yourself, you have a goal, you work hard, and you see that Vach did it and you want to disagree with me badly, man, do it. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody ever tells me, hey, man, Vach, I did this because you disagree with Broaddus one day and you said you know what I mean? Like if I can get to that point, and that's a huge platform at that point,
Yeah.
Notice I didn't say, I want to be on TV when I do this. I didn't say if I want to because that'll take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a millionaire. Nah, because that'll take care of itself, right? I just want to garner enough respect in this space to where my peers who are also good at this, right? My peers look at me and say, hey, man, I'm going to call Vach and ask him about offensive line dudes because he's an offensive line dude. You know what I mean? Like that's what means the world to me. And if I could just find a way to keep, refining that until I found a new goal, right? Then that's what it is right now.
And the reason why I ask you that, coming off that story you talked about with Cowherd and doing that show with him, is because I think for a lot of people, if they were to experience that moment, they may feel like, oh, like I made it. Like I had a whole draft show with Colin Cowherd. I was able to be in a spot where I got the kind of exposure that I was looking for, and then maybe tail off. But for you, it feels like that is just one of the many jumping points for you, given the thing that you're trying to do going forward here and what that footnote means to the larger perspective and picture that you are building and creating for yourself.
Well, KG, watch this, right? I'll tell this story for your show also. I did the Will McDonald interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing that interview put into context, of like making something happen, right? So, okay, I did the show with Cowherd, and we did a good show with Cowherd, right? All right, Vach, you're good at content. Oh, cool. Okay, fine. But Cowherd was kind of like spoon-fed to me. You know what I mean? Like I work for I don't want to say spoon-fed because I did have to get to the volume to get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I work for the volume now. Vach, you want Cowherd on your show? All right, cool. Let's do it, right? But this Will McDonald thing came purely from, nobody gave me the Will McDonald interview. You know what I mean? Like volume didn't set that up. Like I made my own source. You know what I mean? Like per Vach Lombardi was so big to me, right? I was just breaking down Will McDonald film, and I said something good about him on Twitter. And next thing you know, he followed me on Twitter, right? Now, I'm not interview guy. Nothing in me was like, hey, I'm gonna get a player and ask him questions. I'm gonna ask a player. That's never been my thing though. Right? I want to present my thoughts. But man, I just believe in timing, man. I just believe in weird stuff in life happening and just circumstances. Will McDonald follows me on Twitter, and I'm propping him up. I make a film session about him. He follows me on YouTube now. Fine, cool. Hey man, you want to do like an interview or something, Will McDonald? You want to just do anything, just do something? And he was like, yeah, I would do it today, but I'm at this Cowboy 30 visit thing. And at the time, nobody had mentioned Will McDonald had a 30 visit with the Cowboys. So I was like, I don't even know what to do at this point. So I had to ask Will still, and Will hit me back and said, yeah, ask me if you could ask for permission, if you could say that. Can I report? So I'm just going, can I report this? He was like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, Will McDonald just said that he a Cowboy 30, right? So now I'm not being spoon fed Colin Cowherd, right? Like, man, I'm boots on the ground, Vash. Now I'm getting
Yeah.
interviews, like I'm per Vash. Boy, don't let one of these agents follow me. You know what I'm saying? And I get some, you know what I mean? I get a scoop on a contract or something.
Uh-huh.
But I just think about where podcasts are going now, and I think the player interview is a huge part of it. You know, and I do think this is a part of me refining my set of skills. This is a part of me sharpening my sword. I can live just by being skill set. I can live by being breakdown film guy, but I just gotta add another thing to my tool. But I gotta add another move, and be like, hey man, we interview players now. So I've interviewed Will McDonald. That thing went well. So now I'm like, man, how many subs I got to do to get Dak Prescott, man? What I got to do to get Dak? What I got, but not just Dak as a part of, I'm just doing this and Dak is it. I want, Dak to be like, hey, I'm going on the Vash Lombardi show to Dak. What I got to do to get that? You know what I mean? And I do understand that. All right, well, let's start with like Quentin Bohanna first. all right.
There's a progression to all of this.
You know what I mean? All right, Story Jackson. How'd you talk to me? You know what I mean? So, and then one day in 5 years we'll work with Dak. But that's a part of my, my thing now. Me refining this new part of my craft. So I'm talking to Will Still. I've said his name many times, but he produced my show. You know what I mean? So I just want to shout him out. He's fantastic. I'm talking to my volume guys. I'm like, man, how much is it going to cost to give me just to give me a studio in Dallas somewhere? You know what I mean? Just so I can have an open area. Because when I watch these other podcasts, as I'm refining my craft, it's a different feel when these people are in the room with you and you see the cameras in the room with these guys, right? I don't want to just do all right, it's me, my producer, and a third box with Dak Prescott's face in it. That's one thing. And Dak will probably give you some PC answers with that little thing, right? But it's gonna be so different if we just sitting on the couch eating cheeses. I'm like, man, Dak, how you really felt about da 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 da?
Yeah.
And getting that on camera is a totally different piece of content. So now that's a goal that I'm working for. Man, I don't remember your question, man.
You got it.
I just started going, man. But that's the new goal for me, is to sharpen that side of me, be a better interviewer, figure out how to ask questions, because I still don't think I'm good at asking questions yet. So I just want to get better at asking questions. And then I want to bring film to the party, because I am a film guy. So when I interview players, I'm like, hey man, let's watch some film. And I think that'll be a thing that's kind of different for content wise or whatever. So that's my new plan.
So before we move to the Cowboys and some of your thoughts on them before we end today, you're down there in Houston.
Yes,
what's it like being a Cowboy fan in Houston, and some of the things that you, obviously as a content creator and someone who is talking about this team on a daily basis, how does that go for you down there in Houston?
I mean, you would think that I run into more Texans fans than Cowboys fans, but Cowboy fans out here too, and they recognize me. And I just try to be good to people. If they took time out of their day to watch my content, like, oh, Vash, I'm a fan of yours, I don't want them to be like, all right, and just go. I'm like, oh well, tell me what you think about Mozzie Smith.
Yeah.
And I may be in a hurry, but this person contributes to life being good right now. So I'll just kind of kick it with them for a little bit, not a long time. I don't want everybody to think you can just stop me for 10 minutes or something. But hey, man, I'll chop it up with you. We'll exchange about 4 or 5 sentences. Hey, man, appreciate the support. Give you some dap, and I'll dip. I see more Cowboy fans out here than Texas fans. Really, it's in real life. It's more Titans and Cowboy fans in Houston.
Really?
Well, because Houston Oilers was a thing, and that turned.
That's true. That's true.
Turned into Titans. So I said the same thing. So you just realize that, hey, it's Titans fans out here still, but it's Cowboy fans out here also. And then I'll go to Dallas, and that's really where people know me at. So it's a cool little thing. Nothing too crazy.
And just like me, you're a professional wrestling fan, so I can only imagine the amount of wrestling conversations or references that come up during the course of your time talking about this team in a lot of ways, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, man, 100%, man. They'll, we'll just, me and Will. Hey, man, if you see us in public, just give us a
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
a little too sweet. That's right.
For sure, me and my guy Will still do that in public. It's corny as hell, but hey, we wrestling.
Hey,
what you want to say, cuz?
That's right. I haven't met Will. It's crazy. I still have not met Will in person yet, but I know kindred spirit because he's a wrestling fan just like me. So I know that'd be a good time whenever we do eventually get together.
I'm so terrible that sometimes when I'm explaining things, I'll just accidentally. I don't do this on purpose. I promise. I'll be like, well, and this and that. But you know what? Vach says this. Mozzie's gonna do. I'll just slide. Vach says this. Like Rock says this. You know, what I'm saying? Was one of my favorite guys. He'd be like, well, The Rock says this, and I'll just Vach says this, and I do that on accident sometimes. But you know,
it's a special skill to talk in third person and make it sound like you're not talking to third person. That's for sure.
For sure.
Well, let's talk about these Cowboys a little bit before we get out of here today, because Mozzie Smith, number 26 overall pick for the Cowboys, they hadn't taken a defensive tackle since Russell Maryland back in 1991 when he went number 1 overall. Mm-hmm. How would you describe this Cowboys draft based on what they did, getting Schoonmaker, the tight end from Michigan, who I know you had originally had thoughts, and now you've had other thoughts now since then when it comes to the tight end from Michigan?
Well, you know, and on that point though, I'll say this before I get started. When you're watching film on these guys, you know, you're watching 250, however many players, you know, you're watching them in context of everybody. I tell people that all the time. I'm Cowboy guy during football season, but when draft season here, I belong to the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm a Jaguars fan drafting Luke or something like that, like, yeah, all right, Luke's going to make it for the Jaguars. He's whatever. He's all right, cool. But how the Cowboys have been drafted the last 3 years, it seems like there's this trend that they want to get tougher. They want to get physical. They want to run the ball. They want to stop the run. So now when I look at the Luke Schoonmaker pick, I go, okay, well, you fit much more here than in Dallas. I mean, than in Jacksonville or something like that, right? If Luke Schoonmaker was a Brown, and you're trying to just let him show up one day and just whatever, then he's not going to be the same thing as, hey, we're building this culture around tough guys, right? And we're following our board, and we don't care what y'all think. We want tough dudes. We want to stop the run, because we may not have the luxury, the Cowboys here, we may not have the luxury to just pick a dude that y'all may think is the best, because we got to deal with the Eagles. We got to deal with, Saquon and the boys coming back. They run the football. We got to deal with San Francisco in the playoffs, right? We just, it would be dope to get a free safety that works right there. It would be dope to get a cornerback that, fits into this situation. But, man, it is terror threat level orange. In terms of the dudes that we run into, what we need to do to stop them, right? So, man, you just go, you just get Chauncey, you get Bohanna, you get Sam Williams, you get Micah, you get Damone Clark. You just build this defense of all these dudes that kind of fit this same, just these mean, they call them dogs, these mean dog type characters. Cowboys used to draft a lot of gentlemen. They was good players, but they was gentlemen, These dudes, you see them on film, they're just a little more physical. So, Mozzie, I didn't even think Mozzie was an option until the day of the draft. I had a friend hit me up and say, hey, man, Mozzie might be an option. I was like, all right, well, fine. But Cowboys don't draft one text. That can't be a thing. And boy, like just, and so when you're drafting D tackles, one text in particular, nose tackles, right? They're either too special that they got to go in the top 15. You got to lose games to get them. Or they're just regular, I stop the run, but I'm not really a pass rusher dude, and they go in the back of the draft somewhere, like in round 6 or 7, right? So it's rare that you really, get these dudes like that. So when you see Mozzie, you think about it in hindsight, right? It is such a special idea that we can get this dude, because we don't normally have opportunities to get this dude. Sure enough, Will McClay comes out and says, hey, man, I can find y'all a guard anytime. I can get you a guard next year. I can get you a guard these next few rounds. I can find you a guard in free agency, boy. We can get guards. When are we going to find elite one-tech dudes that's going to help us in the run, that can start for us today? He's going to work alongside Bohanna. He's also going to work. He's also going to work with Osa. You know what I mean? Because he can do 3-tech things. He can do 1-tech things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to make him better by fixing some of his, pass rush woes or whatever. That Michigan was just asking him to do different things. It makes total sense now. Right? You may go, well, but Vach, my favorite corner was there. Yeah, but we play the Eagles. And we play Saquon. And we play San Francisco. So getting the 1-tech makes a little bit of sense there. Schoonmaker, run blocker, physical, nasty, Fehoko, powerful hands guy, run stopper, high motor, nasty. Like, you just kind of look at the dude. Eric Scott. He's going to be a cornerback that's going to tackle, right? You got him on the boundary. He gets hands on footballs. He's a turnover guy, tackler. That, like, it just fits. All this stuff, it just comes together. DeMarvin Overshown is literally a missile. He is a missile. If he sees it, He will risk it all to fly in the air. I'm not exaggerating. I got film of it. I'll show you. He'll fly in the air, jump over 3 people just to hit you because he got a clear path to it. Like that's mindset. I don't think we're just drafting random players. Oh, he's at the top of the board. Let's just get him. We're drafting dudes to fit a, like, to make a puzzle here, like to put, like, everything's got to work in tandem with these guys. So I love what the Cowboys did. National media probably not going to grade us that high because they don't know what's going on in these streets. But hey, man, the dudes that we're going to play against, the trends of the last few drafts, it makes sense that we're trying to get tougher and physical.
It's interesting because it feels like the identity of this football team has changed throughout the course of Mike McCarthy's first 3 years, now going into his 4th year as head coach here, where there's been more emphasis on the defensive tackle position. They tried with Dontari Poe, didn't necessarily work out there. Now they're using actual draft capital to address the position as well after they got, Hankins last year, midseason. But for me, this all goes back to Dan Quinn, and it feels like, well, yeah, he's getting a lot of the toys to be able to play with on that defense. There's a real trust and belief in what he has built there on that side of the football that I'm sure Mike McCarthy, as the offensive guys, like, all right, I would like some offensive guys, but what we're doing here on defense looks like it's pretty special going into this upcoming season.
Hey, you would think Dan's in charge, man. You would think that Mike.
That's
McCarthy,
what it feels like.
You know what I'm saying? You think Mike McCarthy got to walk up to Dan like, "Hey, Dan, you think it's cool? We get a guard right here. It's cool." And Dan said, "Yes, you may." You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it looks, but it depends on the identity that we're trying to build. If we're trying to build this defensive first team, then it makes sense for us, right? Or also this other thing that's just kind of in my mind or whatever, right? As a front office, as a coaching staff, do they think that the defense had the biggest deficiencies? Not just this year, right? But just like just the last few years or so. Like we've been an offensive team, and for the most part, I feel like as long as Four is healthy, he can elevate, Dalton Schultz. I don't think Dalton Schultz is going to be great next year with, whoever he's with Houston them, right? He can elevate Noah Brown, right? So maybe there's this idea that, you can get Dak something and he'll make it better, right? But with this Dan Quinn defense thing, and that's crazy because normally offense works this way where everything has to work together. I think they looked at Dan Quinn's defense and they said, hey, you were one of the top defenses and you had like 2 big impediments that we just could do nothing about. And you were still one of the top defenses. Let's make your defense as Teflon as we could possibly make it.
Yeah.
If they had 2 deficiencies, 2 impediments on defense, it was run game, it was cornerback 2. Besides that, the Cowboys were so good at everything else. And teams was just like, man, okay, so we can't hold the ball long. So Jacksonville said, all right, we're just going to run 3 reverses back to back. And it worked. All right, cool. We're just going to run 3 more reverses. That's all we got. And then we're going to get rid of the ball in 0.2 seconds. And then we're going to throw a deep pass versus cornerback 2. And look, it wasn't a great offensive strategy, but it's all they had.
Yeah.
Right? So going into this offseason, they go, you know what? We're going to keep adding to run defense, and we're going to add the cornerback 2. Your move. Your play. And Dak, all you got to do is do what you do, right? Because conventional wisdom will tell you, hey, if Dak can be what he did with that offense with the 30-second pass rush win rate, then we can add anything to it and he'll still be fine then, right? You know what I mean? Man, Dak does not get enough credit for what he does here, right? But let's just say Dak doesn't average 35 points a game. Let's say he averaged 32. Let's say he averaged 30 points a game, right? But the defense goes from giving up 21 points to only giving up 10. Then it'll even out.
Yeah.
So make that defense as Teflon as possible. They're turning every stone. What happened? What's the smallest change we can make on defense? Oh, Micah got tired in week 12. Cool. Let's put weight on him so he don't get tired in week 12. Let's do anything we can do. Oh, Van Der Esch neck hurt. Well, let's get him massages during the week. Like just whatever we can do to make that defense Teflon. I think they've done that. And it's going to be scary to see.
It's funny you brought up Dak because I can't not have this conversation, not ask you about Dak because he's such a polarizing player, but yet when you look overall at his numbers, advanced or not, it's a pretty good quarterback. Why do you think he gets the amount of venom that he does, whether it be from Cowboys fans or otherwise, who look at him and say, this ain't the guy, and you might need to find somebody else. But when you look at other things, you say, well, he's actually pretty doggone good.
Well, they hated, like they hated Tony when, like when Tony left, like then it was like, oh man, we miss Tony now. But they hated Tony all the way up until he left. Like they loved Troy, but when Troy started, not being Troy, they booed him. Vinny Testaverde was one of the goats in the line. But like, they're just gonna hate you until you win a Super Bowl. That's just what it is, right? And I don't know if that's just Cowboy, or if that's just anybody, but they're gonna hate you until you're like competitive for real, for real. If you've gone to a Super Bowl, like, man, Pat Mahomes ain't gotta do nothing else. And
nothing.
Honestly, I don't think Jalen Hurts got to do nothing else, right? But just compete in a Super Bowl. Hey, he at least competed in the Super Bowl, right? So the fact that Dak hasn't done that, that's the only thing that people kind of hold against him. But if you look at wins since he's been in the league, if you look at playoff wins, he's better than a lot of these cats. You look at yards, look at touchdowns, look at QBR. He's top 8 or so in everything. Some stuff he's top 5 and stuff. Some stuff he's number 1 and stuff. Right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter until you've done Super Bowl related things, until you're playing for a Super Bowl or you're playing in the Super Bowl or you've won the Super Bowl. And I think that's the only thing that Dak is missing. But just me as a Cowboy fan now, the temperature of it, I don't even defend Dak's greatness anymore on the internet. I'm just going to go off what you said. If somebody says Dak trash, cool. When Dak dropping, when Dak dropping 40 on the Eagles, yep, he's boy, look at this trash quarterback dropping 40 on the Eagles, boy. Just look at him. Just look at him. When Dak, when we go to the playoffs and we're competing, Dak literally missed 5 games, came back and competed for a first round bye all the way to week 16. Boy, he trash. Boy, he terrible. Terrible quarterback he is. If Dak wasn't hurt, CD Lamb would have damn near 2,000 receiver yards. Oh, that's terrible. Horrific. Get to the playoffs, running to Tom Brady. Everybody thought that the Tom Brady and the Bucs was gonna do smoke Tom Brady and boy, it's Dak terrible. So next year, I'm just gonna listen to y'all. I'm gonna listen to what the peanut gallery got to say. Well, Dak isn't good. Well, he beating this team, so whatever. He's smoking these guys. He's 12 and something 3 years in a row. So all right, cool.
Yeah, Dak is for everything that he is off the field, which is spectacular. For a lot of Cowboys fans, they just want to see that translate into what is ultimately, like you talked about, Super Bowl related things when it comes to the scene, because that is the quote unquote standard for America's team based off of what we've seen from other quarterbacks.
It's really going to suck that I'm going to have to celebrate with those people one day, because I do think Dak will get done. I just think Dak get it done, but I don't want to be out in some bar and I got to high five some dude that just didn't believe in Dak 3 years ago. You wasn't here. You shooting in the gym.
You was the one talking bad about Dak the whole time, and here you are.
I found you on Twitter. Show me your Twitter. Give me your phone.
You pulling up all receipts and like, this is what you said. This is what you said. This is how you said it too.
Can't celebrate with you, sir. Nope.
Last one before I let you go. What do you feel about this team in the hierarchy in the NFC? Obviously, the Eagles making the Super Bowl, second time in 5 years with 2 different head coaches, 2 different quarterbacks. Howie Roseman running circles around the league with drafting every single Georgia Bulldog he can find these days. Where does the Cowboys fit in your mind based on what the NFC is right now?
Well, it's Dallas, it's Philly, and it's San Fran. Those are big 3. I don't want to hear nobody on the internet tell me nothing about Seattle, bro. I don't want to hear nobody tell me about Minnesota. I don't want to hear nobody tell me about Justin Fields or what Chicago about to do. Those teams will be fine. They will be good competitive teams. I don't want to hear about the Giants. I don't want to hear about them. Like, they'll be fine. They'll be a fine competing team. Philly, Eagles, San Francisco. And if you just look at how the offseason is going, they're not gonna get Cowboys credit for this. But if the Cowboys had any impediments, it's cornerback 2, wide receiver 2, run game kind of got fixed or whatever, right? I don't think Dak gets enough credit for this. Dak went into San Francisco, and boy, I don't want to say nothing bad about Noah Brown, man, because he's a good dude, man. But boy,
he not with the Cowboys no more. He not with them no more.
Noah Brown was your wide receiver 2. Dalton Schultz running backwards out of bounds. Dadgum Gallup was hurt. T.Y. Hilton has only been on this team since December. CeeDee Lamb was your guy. Tony Pollard gets hurt. And we're just like, all right, Dak, just beat the best defense in the league. Just put points on the best defense in the league with Noah Brown. Zeke ain't here neither. With Noah Brown, Zeke, and T.Y. Hilton that just got here 3 weeks ago. That is madness. It's madness. So if you were to tell me, KG, well, Vach, we've worked to improve Dak's offensive line. We feel like the running back position as a whole is going to get better, especially, the idea that there won't be politics involved and people on the field when they shouldn't be. Well, I say that humbly. Running back should be better. Your wide receiver 2 has actually played amazing football to go along with your wide receiver 1. Cool. The idea of Gallup and Tober should be better makes sense to me, but whatever. Do y'all thing. They should be better. I'll let y'all have that, right? And you fix every problem with your defense. Any little problem that you had with your defense, you've made it better. Why wouldn't the Cowboys be better this year than last year? Why wouldn't they? Dak's gonna be if Forrest is walking, I believe in my guys. I believe in my guys. I believe in them over Hurts in them. I believe in them over Purdy / Lance in them. I believe in my guys, man. So I may sound like a homer, but man, what else happens to a team that wins 12 games last year, goes to the second round of the playoffs, and they get better? You know what I mean? Like they get better. Like you don't have to deal with the Noah Brown. If Noah Brown turns into Brandon Cooks, and whoever the hell we threw at cornerback 2 turns into Stephen Gilmore, don't we win the playoff
game? You probably win a playoff game or 2.
Whatever, man.
At least you should anyway. At least you should. You should.
Yeah. Cowboys up. Yeah, for sure.
Bods, tell everybody where they can find you at and what you got going on these days, man.
Hey, man, I am at Vach Lombardi, all places, but I'm on Twitter talking crazy at Vach Lombardi. I am on YouTube breaking down goodness at Vach Lombardi, giving live streams on Vach Lombardi page and the volume Monday through Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. I even throw in some film sessions throughout the week so that y'all can get context on some of the things that I'm screaming about. KG, this was a pleasure, man. Appreciate you. You work hard. You're one of the hardest working men in the business. Thank you so much for having me on your platform and all that. I talk to Will still, and I just tell him one day, all the dudes that are kind of just here, at some point, we're just gonna keep working in the system, right? Whether it be the YouTube guys gonna keep working up, the .com guys gonna keep working up, the radio dudes is gonna keep working up, and we're just gonna be this collective of up here now guys. You know what I mean? Because we all got work ethic and we all got to this point, so there's more ceiling for us, right? And I can't wait to be a part of that with you in the future, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate the time. We could talk for 2-3 hours going on here, but you got business to handle, and I appreciate you taking some time out here on the Gray Area Podcast. Vach Lombardi getting up to join me here. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's do it again, man.
We'll do it.